Hey fam, happy late Wednesday night. I had to come on here because I just watched Queen Sugar and I need to talk about it. I'm gonna give my review, but this, wow. Okay, so this is season 4, episode 3. This episode begins with Vi getting ready for work. She's in the mirror and you can see she's been crying. Apparently, she's been reading Nova's book and her makeup is running. Vi is so completely not happy with this book out there like this, and I understand why. All right, so she's getting ready, and you see Hollywood checking in on her, making sure she's okay. And let me see. We then see her at the diner. Okay, so she's at work now. She just got there, greeted everybody. She's cleaning up, and a gentleman comes in. She's not looking. Okay, and he steps up and he says, well, hello, from behind. So she doesn't see him. And he proceeds to say, how are you doing, Vi? And she, without looking at him, recognizes him from his voice. Okay, I literally can feel the hair stand up on the back of her neck. I don't know what this man did to her, but it's ugly. And it's obvious in her reaction to him. So she ends up turning around to look at him. And he's like, hey, Vi, how are you doing? And she is so shocked. She passes completely out. Like he has to catch her. Need I say more? Okay, so then we see her come to, basically, and she's in the diner, and Hollywood is there with coworkers. They got a cold cloth on her head. They're like, Vi, are you okay? Are you okay? What happened? And you see her uncle, Jimmy, or not uncle, you see Jimmy, and he's, motioning towards Hollywood, but he's walking out of the building. So after she came to, she never got to see that was him, basically. And Hollywood doesn't know who he is. So she's like, what happened? And he's like, you passed out. You got to take it easy. You have the whole grand opening. You have Nova's book thing going on. And she's like, okay, take me home. If you've been watching this show from the beginning, Vi is very hard-headed when it comes to her health, okay? She does not go to work because of her health. Okay, she'll be there and she'll need to be carried on a stretcher because of her work. This is Vi. But in this moment, she's like, let's go home. So he goes ahead and he takes her home. Then from there, let me see. We see Micah at home on the couch. He has little ear plugs in so he can't hear. And he's lying on the couch and he's reading Nova's book. All right. And his mom walks in and she's like, Micah, and she looks in and sees that he has the earbuds on, but then she peeps the book that he's reading and she steps back and you could sort of see the disdain, the distaste on her face. So she goes into the kitchen and she's doing whatever, and Micah sees her out of the corner of his eye, so he takes the earbuds out and he goes in and he's talking to her and he's like, what's up? What's going on? And the whole issue of the book that he was reading came up. And she's like, I don't want you reading that. And he's like, this book is from somebody that I trust. Now, I didn't go over last week's episode because I didn't know if I was going to review this whole show. But if you've been watching Queen Sugar, from the beginning, you do know that Micah had a whole run-in with the police. They arrested him. They literally scared the piss out of him. When his parents came to pick him up at the police station, his Auntie Nova was the only one who was looking completely out for him. His parents were fighting with each other while she was looking out for him. Not to mention the fact that Nova has been there in everybody's life from day one as far as the black activism role goes in your life, okay? She's the activist in this family. On a different level. Charlie is too, to an extent. Anyway. They have this whole talk about it, and he said what he had to say to his mom. I trust my aunt. Okay? Okay, so from there, we see Ralph Angels. He's at home. One of his employees, I don't know if they're injured or hurt, because the guy that comes out of the field is speaking Spanish to him, and he's in a panic, and he's telling him that somebody is either sick or hurt. I don't know what happened. I still don't know. So with this sick employee, Ralph Angel relays this message to Charlie, and Charlie's like, okay, I'm going to have my man look at him, because her man's a doctor. He's a doctor, but he's Mexican. He speaks Spanish. Okay, so he's perfect. All right, so let me see. Then we see Micah at school. Micah's walking down the hall. Actually, he's waiting outside of his girlfriend's classroom because she's come out. He's trying to talk to her. If you saw the episode before this, you saw that Micah got into a fight over somebody who deserved a fight. I don't know how else to put that. He deserved it, okay? Micah reacted. But his girlfriend is pissed because she does not want a boyfriend acting like some thug out here. So they have a whole conversation, and he tells her, you know what, you're right. I'm not trying to be some kind of thug. I will defend myself. I'm not going to be perfect, but I will never disrespect you. My mama raised me better than that. Yay, Charlie. Proud mama moment. Okay. Let me see. Then we have Charlie finds out that she can't attend the company's board meetings, with the Landrys basically. However, the youngest son was, the one that she has dealings, relationships with. I don't talk about them a whole lot because I don't trust them. I do not trust a single Landry family member. From the young guy that she kissed a season or two ago to his mom, I don't trust him, okay? But she's pissed to find out she cannot attend these meetings because of the small amount of shares that she holds in this company. And the son, who holds the exact same amount as hers, he can attend these meetings. So she made a call to his mom's office, who's not taking calls, by the way. And she's pissed about that. But she relays to her secretary her concern, exactly what it is. And she's like, I need to call back soon. All right, so let me see. Then we see Vi and Hollywood at home. Vi wakes up and they're talking, she's just alert now, coming back to herself, and they're talking, and he's like, what happened with you? And she tells him, that was Jimmy that showed up at the restaurant. He's like, the old guy? Yellow shirt, white beard, bald head? And she's like, yeah, that was Jimmy. And Hollywood is freaking out because he knows about this fool. Am I the only one who doesn't know what the hell he... Anyway, Hollywood's freaking out. Vi's trying to tell him, like, yeah, that's why my reaction was that it was. He's picking up a phone, calling immediately. And he's like, yeah, if you see that guy that was in the restaurant today with Vi, the old with the yellow shirt on, I need you to call me ASAP. Okay. So hangs up the phone. And Vi tells him, you don't know him. You do not know him. That man is sneaky. He's scandalous. Like, the way she talks about him makes me recognize her pain that he caused her and her fear of him. Like, I don't know what to think about Jimmy, but I know it's not good. That's all I do know about him. All right, so then we see when Hollywood does get a call, he gets a call back from the restaurants later on in the day, and he shows up there, and he sits down at the booth with Jimmy, and Jimmy's all pleasantry, hey, how you doing? And Hollywood's like, I don't know what the hell you're doing back here. And he's like, but that's my Vi. And he's like, oh, you this young this. I guess he remembers Hollywood from back in the day. And he's like, no, I'm not young, nothing. He's like, that's my wife. And he's like, and you are not welcome here. Not in this restaurant, not in our home, not in this town. And he's literally threatening him. He's like, I want you to go on and finish up what you're eating here. I want you to pay for your meal and get the hell out of this town. And Jimmy's like, I don't want to have no problems. I didn't come here to start nothing up, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, that's cool. I'm glad you recognize. He's like, because if I catch you around here again, you will catch these hands. And I'm like, every woman wants a man to protect her. And Hollywood just rocked this moment. He protected the fuck out of Vi, and I'm here for it. All day, every day, okay? All right, so then we see Charlie, her boyfriend, the Latin guy. He has prepared a picnic for them at the park. She shows up there. They're sitting talking, and she's actually asking him about his business and, being a doctor. And he's like, I wish I could do more. And she's like, what do you mean? And he's like, I don't know. I just want to do more for my people. After a couple of years ago when two of the field workers were killed because they were forced to work in that, I can't remember if it was a hurricane or just a storm, but you remember a season or two back when in Ralph Angel's field. A couple workers were killed from the weather. However, if I recall, they weren't forced to stay there. But anyway, Charlie's thinking about what he's saying, and she's like, well, at the mill, I have some of our barracks there, you know, that were intended for workers who have to stay overnight or whatever. And she's like, they're vacant. And she's like, you can use it. If you can get the volunteers and we can get the funding, you have, you know, an extra space for what you want to do. And he's completely touched by this, very happy. And at the same time, he's also very happy and thankful he was able to help Ralph Angel's employee, because he said he's going to be fine. Right. So then we see Micah comes home from school, and he has his girlfriend with him because they made nice after the whole conversation. And he's checking the mail, and he opens a letter that is for him. And the letter's a death threat. He's like in shock reading it. His girlfriend's like, what is it? So he starts reading it aloud to her, basically saying, Micah, you need to keep your mouth shut or we're going to kill you. In so many words. And the next thing you see, okay, from there, he shared that with his girlfriend. Then we see Vi at home. You know, she went home from work for the day, and she's looking through old pictures, photos of her when she was very young. And you can see clearly that these pictures are painfully bringing up her past. And Jimmy's involved in that past. I still don't know what he did. I don't know. Then we see Jimmy show up there. Vi's at home alone. Jimmy shows up knocking on the front door. And you can see she's still in a bit of shock when he shows up there. And he's like, hey, how are you doing? I wanted to come say hi. And she's like, what are you doing here? And he's like looking in the house. And he's like, I remember this. I remember I used to live here. And he's like, well, are you going to invite me in or what? I'm shocked as shit because Vi invites this fool in the house. Okay. Then we see Ralph Angel. Now, during this episode, Ralph Angel had, oh, I forgot to say this. Ralph Angel had a date with the I think she's a public defender from the last, both episodes, the last two ones. The dark-skinned, pretty black girl with the short hair, he has another date with her, basically, and during this date, they talk about her job, and she admits that she looked him up, his record. She knows his record. But at the same time, because she works in the position that she does, she knows that not everybody is what their record says, and she relays that to him. So they have a good day. They're feeling each other. There's a little chemistry there. Nothing outrageous, but it's cool. I really like her. Damn, I'm mad I don't remember her name. I will have it for next recording. But she's really cute. Like, that's a very beautiful, that's a beautiful queen, all right? So then we see Ralph Angel sitting with Darla, and he's telling her about Nova's book, how she put his connection with Blue down in the book, and Darla is so pissed, but she's so apologetic to Ralph, as if she actually wrote these words herself. And he's like, no, it's not your fault. Anyway, okay, so from there, like I said, Vi had invited Jimmy into her home, and Jimmy's walking in, and he's talking a little, this, it smells good in here, like you've been cooking. And at this point, it's sort of like Vi gets her feeling back. I felt like she was numb, and she's asking him to leave. And at this moment, Nova shows up there, okay? And Jimmy tells her it's nice to see her again. And Vi is picking up on this, like, excuse me? Again. And Nova's like, let me explain, okay? So Jimmy is like, she don't need to explain nothing. I wanted to see how all these years have treated you, and as I can see, they've been treating you kind of good. He is putting his hands, touching on Vi. And at this point, both Vi and Nova are crazy. Anger has taken over. Get the hell out of here. They're pushing him out of the house. They done pushed him out the front door, down the balcony, into the front yard. And at this point, Hollywood shows up, okay? And Hollywood is taking off towards him because he sees what's going on. And Jimmy is warning him. And he's like, I ain't the one. I'm not the one here, basically. And Hollywood proceeds to beat that ass. I'm like, that man has to be a good 20, 30 years older than Hollywood. And Hollywood beat the brakes off him. Like, his hand is open, bloody, the whole nine. And Jimmy says, basically, to Vi, he said, I see you held on to your anger for all these years. And he said, I took something you ain't never going to get back. And he said, I came here to say I'm sorry. He's like, but I ain't sorry. He's like, not at all. And he said, you were always Ernest's little sister. And he said, but you're always a hot piece of ass. And at that moment, Vi and Nova are fighting Hollywood to hold him back, okay? And he said, my problem is I never should have tried to make you a wife, okay? So from that, I'm getting he was Ernest's friend, who probably raped Vi and then took her in. Married her, degraded her. I can't even imagine what hell her life was. That man is not right in the head, okay? All right, so at this point, we see after the fight, Vi is at the dining room table in her house, cleaning up Hollywood's hand, you know, bandaging him up. And Nova, she's apologizing. And she's saying she never meant for any of this to happen. And Hollywood says, you never do. Okay? And she admits at this point to going to find Jimmy to interview him for her book. She went to interview the monster that her aunt told her about her entire life. And yes, her auntie did raise her. She went to interview that fool for her book. Okay? She says she wanted all sides of the story. And then once she realized that, in fact, Jimmy is a piece of shit that she was always told that he was, she decided not to include anything of that, you know, him in the story. Basically, he's the reason that she is the reason he showed up there. All right? So Vi says, your daddy would be ashamed of you. And your mama would do exactly what I'm about to do. Y'all, this is deep. This was so... It was deep. She says, I don't want to see you. I don't want to talk to you. She says, not now, not tomorrow. She said, the way I'm feeling, not 10 years from now. She says, you can't provide enough space between you and I. Don't darken my doorstep. Don't bring flowers to my gravesite. Y'all? She says, I don't need you disturbing my peace. This is the last time I will let you into this house. Nova Borderline. These are the last words spoken during the show, and you see Nova walking out of the house, closing the door behind her. She's broken, and she's crying. Even though I don't feel a drop of sympathy for Nova, because damn, she fucked up. I feel bad for this family because everything she did hasn't even come to pass yet. We're not even hitting all the points we're going to with Nova opening her big ass mouth about her family's secrets. And it's sad because she's broken her family. And I don't know if they'll recover. Anyway, y'all, I hope you like my review. If you like my videos, hit the like button, become a subscriber, and let me know what you think. Leave me a comment. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.